That's right, folks. I am back home. My finals have concluded. My backdrop is like back to being the normal light, not having like the little bookshelf in the background or top corner or like being a little bit grainy and whatever. Lighting slightly better, cameras hopefully a little bit better. I actually took a Harry Potter class this past semester, did quite well in it, found out my final grade today. So now I find it a perfect time to go back and review this movie that I saw about 2 weeks ago. So without further ado, I'm John Hayeck and welcome to my movie thoughts. Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. So we actually rewatched the first Fantastic Beasts in my Harry Potter class about a month or so ago, and I don't want to go too deep into re-reviewing that movie for you guys, but I'll tell you, I had like a Phantom Menace experience. I remember when a lot of people saw the Phantom Menace for the first time in theaters, they were like, oh, this is awesome because it was Star Wars, and then upon rewatch, it's like, oh, this isn't that good. And when I first saw the first Fantastic Beasts movie, you guys can find my review on this channel for it, I said, oh yeah, this movie's pretty good, like it's not super original or anything, but I mean, it's an enjoyable little ride in the Harry Potter universe and everything. I must have brainwashed myself to love it because of how much I love Harry Potter. Rewatching the first Fantastic Beasts for the second time about a month ago or so, I could not stand it. I thought it was completely derivative of the original franchise. It was just riding on the tailcoats of the Harry Potter lore, and it didn't do anything to separate itself. It felt disjointed, it felt boring, the dialogue on those, I didn't think the performances were that good. So going into Fantastic Beasts 2, I'm like, man, I'm not even going to go to the theater to see this thing. We did a screening in my class, which is why I'm like, I mean, last day of class, well, I mean, I guess we'll check it out, but, you know, I'm not super excited for it. And I'll tell you what, this movie was not good, but it was an improvement. I don't think the dialogue was as cringy in this movie. I think that there were some slightly better moments, but more on that in a second. So Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, we bring back Eddie Redmayne, Catherine Waterston, Dan Fogler, and a few other characters. We bring back Johnny Depp as the titular Grindelwald, and we introduce Zoe Kravitz playing Lita Lestrange in this movie. Is it Lita or Lena? I believe it's Lita. Anyway, and in this globe-trotting adventure, we have Eddie Redmayne and crew kind of trying to figure out what Grindelwald's doing next. And that's the most I'll say without spoiling. I know the movie's been out for like a month or whatever. Ezra Miller returns to this movie as well, and he kind of has his own little subplot. He died at the end of the first movie, but apparently he is not actually dead in this movie. It's kind of felt like a weird rewrite, or I don't know. But so what happens in this movie is we have our characters running it. Eddie Redmayne, I realize, I'm like, all right, he's just gonna be like this eccentric, like looking out of focus, like weird character the entire time, which I liked because in the first movie I felt like he was this guy who was like heroic and doing his thing, and he was like a little bit eccentric and everything, but he was like there for you know, to do good and stuff. And I'm like, oh, so he's just gonna be the generic Harry lead character. He's just gonna be the hero that we all need. But I think by leaning into his weirdness, you're like, all right, cool, like he has a little bit more of personality now. I like that. Dan Fogler is back, and I thought he was the best part of the first Fantastic Beasts. Upon my rewatch, I thought that the same was true. He was still the best part of the first Fantastic Beasts. But like, why is he back in this movie? Like, they wiped his memory at the end of the first one, and then it's like, oh, it turns out his memory wasn't wiped. Like, that's, I don't know, a little questionable. But anyway, so he's back in the movie. He was still funny in the movie. I liked his role in the movie. Catherine Waterston, I think, is a bit... I love Catherine Waterston as an actress. I loved Steve Jobs. She was just in mid-90s, which I thought was great. I even really dug her in Alien Covenant, which I thought was a better movie than a lot of people give credit for. Her performance is so weak. I honestly cannot even go fully into it. I just thought that she's so one note. She's just reacting to things and being surprised by things, and like there's no complexity to her character. She's just the same face the entire movie, just surprised face. It's just, I can't believe this face. It's just, I can't believe this is happening face. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you trying to accomplish by doing that face? The answer is she accomplishes nothing in the movie. I couldn't stand her character. I don't know why Eddie Redmayne's character was attracted to her. I was just totally not down for that whatsoever. The romance did not work out at all. Speaking of romances that didn't work out at all, Catherine Waterston's character in the movie has a sister, Queenie, who we meet in the first movie, the Luna Lovegood character, basically. And she and Dan Fogler have a relationship, and it takes like a dark turn in this that I was not down for whatsoever. Excuse me, I think Queenie had like an interesting arc in this movie, but her and Dan Fogler's relationship was just not there. I thought they made this choice like when they introduced the two of them that I thought was very, very cringy. I just was not down for that whatsoever. Speaking more towards plot issues in the movie, the film is called The Crimes of Grindelwald. Grindelwald is barely in the movie. Basically what they're trying to do in this movie is trying to figure out like where Ezra Miller's character like came from, because he was like adopted by his family in the first movie, which I thought was a subplot in the first movie that worked kind of well. But now he's like, oh, who are my real parents? Because apparently I was adopted and stuff. And it's basically them trying to figure out where he came from and if he has ties to the Lestrange family. And Grindelwald is like in the background, like doing bad stuff, but like his plans are never made entirely clear, so you're like kind of lost on that. And you're like, wait a second, like that doesn't really make any sense. And why wasn't it called like Fantastic Beasts, the Lestrange lineage or whatever? Because it should be focused on that. It's basically just them talking about, oh, who's Ezra Miller's character related to, and oh, did the Lestranges come into play? And it's them talking about that for 2.5 hours basically, and you're like, well, this kind of wound up going nowhere. I think that the movie is dull. I think that over the course of the movie, once the plot begins to divide up and the characters kind of start going their own separate missions, it feels like it's about 6 separate movies. You have the Ezra Miller movie, you have the Lestrange movie, you have the Ezra Miller's character movie, you have the Grindelwald movie, and you have the Dumbledore and Eddie Redmayne movie. And any of those could have been interesting. I would have been down to see the Grindelwald movie because I thought Johnny Depp was quite good in his role despite how scummy of a person he is in real life. The Dumbledore part I thought was played really well by Jude Law, so could have gone for more of him. And even if you just focused on one of these and made that the plot of the movie and had a subplot somewhat related to that, it would have been fascinating. But the fact that they all feel so unrelated and so disjointed, the Fantastic Beasts are back for parts of the movie and you're like, alright, they don't belong in this movie about the crimes and the lineages and everything. You're like, man, it felt so sloppily written, and by the end, we have this twist ending. It's the very last line in the movie. It's the worst twist ending I've ever seen in a movie, and I use a little hyperbole in saying that. I was thinking back over the last... I've been doing these videos on YouTube now for almost 5 years, and I was going back and looking through all the movies I'd reviewed, and I'm like, there are very, very few twist endings that touch how horrendous this was, because this movie was like, it wasn't good, but it wasn't like horrendously bad or anything like that. Like, it wasn't offensive. Like, I thought the first Fantastic Beasts, rewatching it, it was just so horrendously offensively bad that I could not stand it whatsoever. The second one, watching it, I was like, okay, I mean, it's just kind of like throwaway, disjointed garbage and whatever, but that last line almost made the entire thing utterly unwatchable. I'll tell you guys that. This movie, you should not see it. If it's on cable and you're a huge Harry Potter fan, check it out, but, like, it's not something you go to the theater to just, like, enjoy for a fun Friday night or anything like that. It does not stand the test of time the same way that the original Harry Potter movies will, and the twist ending at the end makes the disjointedness just even worse, and it just makes the entire thing feel like it was a setup to nothing. There's a ton of inconsistencies. If you're a Harry Potter fan, you probably caught all of them throughout this entire thing. It is almost indescribably incoherent, and that's the best I can say about this movie. So guys, let me know all of your thoughts on Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald in the comment section down below. You guys can go over to mymoviethoughts.com, follow me on Twitter at JohnMhayeck, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for tons more posts from me. Links all 3 of those are in the description down below. You guys can also like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I am John Hayeck, so I'll thank you guys so much for watching.